My name is Catherine Keener, and for my principal interview project, I chose to interview two different elementary school principals within the Elyria City School District. The first principal I spoke with was Miss Licht, and she is at Franklin Elementary School. Franklin Elementary School has nearly 100% of its students classified as economically disadvantaged. They also have a free breakfast program, and 100% of the students take advantage of that. This chart shows the demographic breakdown of the school. The blue bar represents the economically disadvantaged students. The next highest bar is the yellow one that represents the Black non-Hispanic students with 36.4% of the population. 33.5% of the population are classified as white, non-Hispanic. That would be the purple bar. 15.7% are classified as multiracial. That's the orange one. The green one represents the Hispanic group. That would be 14.4%. And the light blue bar represents the students with disabilities at 14.3%. The white bar represents the students with limited English proficiency, and that is at 7.9%. At the school, one of the things that Ms. Licht tries to emphasize to her students is the idea of success for all of them, both in school and when they get to high school, and beyond that in the job market. She has a big focus on behavior within her school. She also focuses on job skills that the students need to have. For example, in order for students to be successful at their future jobs, they need to learn to be on time, they need to learn how to speak to adults or their superiors, and they need to learn people skills. She explained that she has to undo some of the teachings from the parents. For example, many of the parents will tell her that they just want their child to defend themselves. And Mrs. Licht has to explain to them that that's the kind of behavior that will get them in trouble someday. When they're working at a job and something goes wrong, they should not be trying to defend themselves all the time to their superiors. There are other ways in which they should be behaving. She tries to impress upon her students that there are no limits for them. They can achieve anything. Some key points that we discussed through the process of the interview are what happens when there's a levy on the ballot. What Mrs. Licht does is she creates a levy committee within the school by approaching her second-year teachers. She feels that by doing this, she will be able to get higher participation to help out with the levy from her teachers. She thinks that if the teachers are being asked to help out from other teachers, they are more likely to volunteer than if she just simply asks them. She often has challenges with her budget, in having enough money to do all of the things that she wants to do at her school without running out. She explained to me that even though she has a significant amount of money through Title I, it's still not enough to cover everything that she has to do at her school. Some of the things that she does to supplement that is fundraising, and she also supplements it with her own money, which I was very surprised to hear. For example, there was a student event that evening that dealt with recognition of students for their good behavior. She said that she did not have enough money in her budget to support that, so she went out and bought all of the supplies and everything with her own money. She also said that her teachers are not aware that she does this. As I stated before, behavior is a key point at Franklin Elementary School. There is a school-wide discipline plan that begins with a warning and escalates to timeouts in other rooms, loss of recess, before and after school detentions, and finally removal from classrooms. They used to have an in-school suspension room, but that has been taken away due to budget cuts. She spends a great deal of time teaching students the appropriate behavior. She feels that when the students are at home, their parents are not teaching them the way that they should be behaving. So it is up to the school to teach them how to behave in class, how to walk through the hallways, how to go to the restroom and show appropriate behavior there, because they really don't know. She goes so far as to instruct her teachers that the first 2 weeks of school are to be spent doing nothing but behavior teaching. She instructs them that they are not to send any referrals to her office for discipline during that 2-week period. She works with the parents on behavior as well. There is no parent group at the school, but the principal is able to make phone calls and ask for volunteers for specific things. So there's no parent or parent group that will take the initiative to run different events for Miss Licht. She doesn't have anyone who's willing to step up to be a leader in that way, but she's able to call on parents for specifics when she needs it. She also does a little bit of manipulation, you could say, whenever she does have an out-of-school suspension occur. Rather than just assigning the student the 3 days out of school and then they come back, she has the parents come in for a reinstatement meeting. She says she makes it very inconvenient and very long and drawn out for the parents to make it so that it inconveniences them, so that in return they will hopefully get after their child to behave better. The next principal I met with was Mrs. Fitch at McKinley Elementary School. McKinley is very fortunate in that they only have 3.9% of their students economically disadvantaged. They do have a free breakfast program at the school, and about 60% of the students take advantage of that. This chart shows the student demographics for McKinley. The purple bar shows the highest percentage, with 65.2% of the students being white non-Hispanic. The orange bar is 15.2%. That represents the multiracial students. The yellow bar at 12.7% represents the black non-Hispanic students, with 6.2% being Hispanic and then 10.4% of the students being students with disability. This is also, it's noteworthy to mention that this is the school that many teachers and administrators that work for the district send their students. They have a large open enrollment policy. Mrs. Fitch likes to emphasize a we attitude in her school, as in we are all working together. For example, even though the state testing only covers grades 3, 4, and 5, she works with the staff on the idea that they are all in it together, they are all working together for school improvement, because what kids do in kindergarten affects what they do in first grade and beyond, so it's really up to everybody working together. She works very hard to frequently communicate with the staff. When she sees something good, she'll send them a note saying, hey, thanks for doing that today, just as a little recognition. She also sends out weekly emails with what she calls wow teaching moments. Because she's doing so many observations through OTES, she frequently sees some really good teaching lessons, and she will send that out, the details of that lesson, out to the staff. And that's one way that she works on professional development that doesn't cost any money. Some other key points that we discussed in terms of a levy. When a levy is up on the ballot, there is no levy committee. She just asks for volunteers from the staff, and she stated that most of the volunteers she gets are veteran teachers. When she runs out of money in her budget, she also runs fundraisers at the school, but Ms. Fitch is fortunate in that she has a parent group that assists with additional needed purchases and runs their own fundraisers. She also has a Title I budget that's much smaller than at Franklin. Mrs. Fitch also believes in teaching good behavior to the students. She doesn't have a set discipline plan that is a school-wide plan, but she does expect teachers to demonstrate everything that they've done before they send a student to the office. Her parent group, again, is generally supportive and is well run, which is very helpful for her in terms of reinforcing positive student behavior. There are several commonalities that I noticed between the two schools. In both schools, the principal has a student-first mentality, and that's evident in the way that they spend the money in their budgets. Whenever they do anything for teacher incentives, that money always comes out of their own pocket. For example, Mrs. Licht will occasionally put in a chocolate fondue or fixings for root beer floats in the teacher lounge just as treats for the teachers. Mrs. Fitch says that she purchases breakfast for all of the teachers whenever they have staff meetings, and all of that comes out of their own pocket. So they're not willing to spend school funds on the teachers. They save that strictly for the students. They feel also that it's extremely important to be visible and accessible in the school for the students and the staff. They don't just hide in their office. They are out speaking with the students and speaking with the teachers, checking in with the teachers to see what they need constantly. They also put the time and effort into running fundraisers. And anytime a teacher or a parent requests money for a student activity, both principals explain to me that they do everything within their power to honor that request. They try to never say to a parent or to a teacher that there just isn't money. Everything that they do is an effort to work around the budget limitations. In addition to that, whenever a levy is on the ballot, the principals put in significant time on their own time outside of school to attend weekly meetings, make the phone calls, and go door to door. What I learned from Miss Licht and Mrs. Fitch is that the principal must be even more dedicated than the teachers. And this is evident in the sense as far as money goes. Most teachers will spend their own money on classroom supplies, but I suspect that Mrs. Fitch and Miss Licht spend even more of their own personal money on things that they do for the teachers. So that takes a lot of dedication. Additionally, you can't just become principal and expect the staff to just be dedicated to what you want and do what you ask them to do. They do a lot of things to work with the staff to get them to be on their side. For example, being visible, being present, being available for the teachers when they have concerns. All of that is important in order to get the staff to buy in. Additionally, they have limited funds in their budget, and a principal needs to be able to work creatively within those confines to still accomplish everything that they need to accomplish. So, for example, when they do professional development, the idea that Mrs. Fitch has where she shares her wow teaching moments, those are professional development because teachers can learn from other teachers. Additionally, they do things like share teachers from building to building, where a teacher from one elementary may come to visit another one to share some ideas or share some knowledge that they have. So they don't let the budget limit what they're able to do within their school. They work very hard to make sure that everything that is needed is accomplished. Thank you.